Morning. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to work a little bit on dirty boxing. So you hear that term thrown around a lot. A lot of people talk about, dirty boxing, and it's all Filipino martial arts, or it's all this, or it's all that. To me, dirty boxing is a blend of all of it. There's so many countries that use boxing as their title. You've got the Burmese use Bondo boxing, the Thais use Thai boxing, Panantukan Filipino boxing. Even in the western states, Europe, there's a lot of boxing arts going on. Pancration is considered kind of an MMA or a boxing, with their souped up hand implements and things like that. For me, boxing is really just, it's a good way to describe, some dirty fighting. So the differences between my take on dirty boxing and maybe Western boxing or formalized sport boxing is that we use any tool on our hand. Our arms are just a delivery system or a vehicle to get our weapons into play. So everything's open season, right? Finger attacks, any kind of hand strike attacks, open hand, palm strikes, fist attacks, hammer fists, all that's open season and available to us. But we can use the tactics that we learn from sport boxing and those type of things in regards to footwork, head movement, all those things to enhance our ability to fight on the street. So most of the stuff we're going to do today is going to be from an orthodox versus orthodox standpoint. But really that's kind of irrelevant, because all you're dealing with is a limb. I'm dealing with his right hand or his left hand. It doesn't matter what his footwork is or his foot positioning is. What matters is that I can defend against that hand. In a sport context, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference between fighting a southpaw versus fighting an orthodox fighter. But really on the street, we're not going to stand out there and do the dance and fight it at the boxing range for a long time. We're going to do our hits, we're going to enter, we're going to close, we're going to clinch, we're going to take them down, we're going to stomp on them, we're going to move on. So really what we're going to work on today is just 3 different tactics, 3 for the left side, 3 for the right side. So from our basic stance, we've got our hands up already. We're going to work on nothing more. I'm going to cover a lot more of this in our online course, so I'm not going to go through a lot of description on what I'm doing here. I'm just going to go ahead and break down the movements and show them to you. If you want a more in-depth study on this stuff, we do have our online course at TejasFightSciences.com. Come visit me there, sign up for the program, and I'll give you in-depth personal instruction once a week via video. But for today, we're just going to cover this. All right. So my hands are up. I'm just going to be taking a step to my right. Now I could either move with my left foot or I could move with my right foot. In this case, I'm just kind of a little bit of a slip and a little bit of a step. All right. With that, I'm going to be parrying that left hand. These are going to be versus left hand straight punch. All the techniques today are versus straight punches. All right. They could have a little bit of arc to them when we get to the inside. But we've got 3 different places we can deal with these: outside of the punch, in line with the punch, and inside of the punch. So our first one's going to be outside of the punch, and we're going to move across this way to the right hand. So my very first motion is I'm going to be stepping out and doing a quick parry. Now it could be just a slip and head movement and body shuffle, or I could add the hand. I like to use that hand to monitor in. As I do that, I'm going to be doing a split entry, which means that my right hand will be on the outside of the punch, my left hand will be on the inside. I'm just going to fire a finger jab into the eyes. Okay. As I fire that finger jab in the eyes, he's probably going to be dropping that hand. I'm just going to follow with an overhand right. Okay, so the motion is going to look a little like this: finger jab, overhand right. That's going to be our first defense against the outside of the left hand. Now there are times, more than likely, that arm's not going to be there in a dynamic confrontation. Usually, most of the time, you have to deal with limbs in the way, because when you're doing static training, you got a solo partner and he punches and you do your stuff on him and he doesn't move his arm because he's not being hit. There's no reason for him to react in any way other than just stand there and let you do target practice. All right. If I was actually, a guy was throwing a punch at me, he's throwing this punch out and I hit him in the eyes, his arm's probably dropping. When his arm drops, that opens up that overhand right. So as he throws it, I hit him in the eyes, he's like this, wondering what happened. Boom, here comes the right hand. So that's what's happening here. For most cases, we're going to step out, fire that finger jab, and just take a little short step in and fire the overhand right. Now, if for some reason that arm is in there, it's just a matter of scooping it out of the way. All I do is I fire my finger jab, I'm on the outside of the arm, and I just scoop that arm away and throw my overhand right. So that's going to be our outside punch. Okay, now our center line, we're just going to do a catch. Okay, a simple boxing catch, and we're going to return the right hand. I could do a simple boxing catch, I return to 1-2. I can do a catch and just fire the 2. All right. So I'm hanging out in here. I just take a short shuffle back, even just almost like an elastico Filipino movement, but a short step with my rear foot to bring myself back, a short snap back of the head, and a catch. And as I return from that, I just return with the right hand. Okay, so if that person is throwing their punch out, and they're kind of dropping their hand or whatever, they kind of throw that. That's going to make a good opening for me to throw my overhand right. Okay, so I just catch, overhand right, or I catch, 1, 2. Okay, and remember the overhand right, I'm kind of throwing it kind of sloppy here. If I was throwing that overhand right, I'd want to return it right back to where I'm at. Okay? But for demonstration purposes in the video, I'm trying to show you the motion. All right, so we catch, fire the 1, 2, or we catch and just fire the 2. Or the overhand right, which is actually a 5 in our counting system, but just throw the rear hand. Could be a cross, could be an overhand, it doesn't make a difference. All right, and the last one we're going to throw is we're going to do a little double. This is the one that's maybe, I'm choosing to go inside, probably because it seems like that's the best route for me to go. Maybe that's starting to do a little bit of a loop to it, so I just want to get to the parry to the inside. Now there's a lot of things I could do here. We're just going to do a simple motion, which in Filipino martial arts we call it a gunting. I'm not doing this so much to injure the arm, I'm doing it to clear that arm. Okay, as I strike that arm, that's going to move that arm a little bit further away, open up my shot. So I'm going to have my hand up here as a parry guard. I'm going to strike that hand. I'm just going to drive that palm strike straight out, or a finger claw, the bear claw we worked on last week, and drive my rear hand in. So I'm going to double parry, so it's going to be a parry and a shot, hammer fist or back knuckle, because I'm striking the soft tissue on the inside of the arm. The back of the knuckle is okay, I'm not going to injure that. Or I could use a hammer fist, it really doesn't matter. Use whichever one you like better. I parry, hit the arm, follow with that lead hand and the rear hand. All right, so it comes out 1, 2. Okay, very simple. So when we get back to the right hand, we're going to be hanging out here, same motion. I'm going to do that exact same motion, but on the right, against the right hand. So I parry. I'm going to take that little slip into here, parry and hit that hand, drive this out straight, and fire my rear hand. Okay, so it's double gunt, bang, bang. Okay, now against the center line attack off the right hand, I'm just going to do a cover. Okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to be hanging back here. I'm going to zone back now, but I'm going to cover. Hopefully I get some knuckles on my elbow and make a little money with that by him hurting his fist, not wanting to throw another punch. Really all I'm trying to do is not get pasted in the face. So I'm hanging out back here, I cover back, and I'm just going to come back in, drop this down, fire the rear hand. Very simple. Catch back, fire the rear hand. Okay, now on the last one, we're going to do is we're going to parry again to the outside, but off of that parry, I'm going to go ahead and attack. So a lot of times we used to call this like the pak and go. In Chinese martial arts, Jeet Kune Do, we call this the pak sao, the slapping hand. After I do a little short step, I'll pak that hand, fire straight in with the finger jab. I'm going to drop a shot down, a rear hand to the liver, and hook to the head. Because that rear hand to the liver could probably cause him to do a little bit of a bend over. I'm just going to drive that hook right into his face after that. So I'm going to step on out, parry, finger jab, cross the, rear hand to the liver, boom, hook to the face. All right. So that's going to cover 3 to the left, 3 to the right. Okay. We're going to review them real quick again. Outside of the left hand, finger jab, either scoop the hand, throw the rear, finger jab, just throw the rear. Center line on the left hand, catch, just throw the rear, catch, throw the 1, 2. All right. Inside of that, take a little short step inside, get my gunt, drive the lead and the rear. All right. Inside of the right, double hit just like I just did on the other side, lead and rear. Okay. Center line on it, where over here we did the catch, here we're going to do the cover. We're just going to cover back, hopefully get some elbow action, drop that hand down, fire the rear. Okay. From the outside, as we would parry here, we're just going to step out, parry, but I'm just going to let that motion. Actually, later as you develop this, this becomes 1. You'll be striking that hand, feeding the finger straight in the eye. But for the motion, for understanding it at the beginning stages, I'm going to make it 2 motions, a 1 and a 2. Later on, try to make this a complete 1 straight into the eye. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Hope you get a little bit out of that. That's our expression of dirty boxing. Dirty boxing is pretty much, you could call it mano a mano, you could call it Panantukan, you could call it Jeet Kune Do, you could call it anything you want to call it. I call it dirty boxing because we don't tie ourselves to one system. You know, we went out and experienced many different arts to try and absorb what we thought was useful, and that's what we're doing. We're taking a lot of the Western boxing tactics, adding Filipino boxing tactics, Muay Thai. Later you'll see this as we start expanding, we'll start throwing a lot more knees and elbows. That's what you need to do. You need to expand your journey to embrace and experience all the beauty that's out there in martial arts. All right, have a great day.